Hello there. So this is for the subject monetary policy and central banking. The topic for this particular video is monetary system. Okay. So we have here an article from intelligenteconomist.com. All right. So to begin, let's have the definition of monetary system. So a monetary system is defined as a set of policies, frameworks, and institutions by which the government creates money in an economy. Okay. So essentially, we have the central bank and the financial institutions. And the central bank, the monetary board from the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, set the policies. They regulate, control, and supervise the transactions in the financial market, essentially in the what do you call this? Financial system of the country, right? And there are frameworks, there are guidelines that they put out so that these financial institutions could abide by them, could follow the guidelines to ensure that the financial system would remain uh, working properly, something like that. So to prevent inflation, to prevent recession or financial crisis, essentially depression. Okay, and then we have of course the institutions making up the uh, financial system. Okay, so normally we have the banks and then we have all the non-bank financial institutions we've discussed in banking and financial institutions. Such institutions include the Mint. The Mint is essentially the central bank. They're the ones authorized to print the money and mint the coins. The Treasury, Government Treasury, Department of Finance, and other financial institutions. So there are three common types of monetary systems. First one is commodity money, commodity-based money, and then we have the fiat money. Okay. Currently, fiat money is the most common type of monetary system in the world. So, for example, the US dollar is fiat money. The Philippine peso is also a fiat money. Okay. Again, three types of monetary systems: commodity, commodity-based, and then the fiat. Okay. So, what do these three mean? Okay. For the commodity money, this is made up of precious metals or other commodities that have intrinsic value. In other words, the monetary system uses the commodity physically in terms of currency. So, way back, people uses metals, normally gold and silver, as money, right? This form of money retains its value even if it's melted down. Silver is still silver even if you melt it down. Gold, okay. They have been commonly used throughout history as a form of money. But of course, currently, they are no longer used as commodity money. They are still commodity though, and they are still being traded normally between countries, between central banks. Okay. But for consumers, they could still buy gold, but in small quantities, right? Second, we have commodity-based money. So this draws its value from a commodity, but doesn't involve handling the commodity regularly. The notes don't have tangible value, but can be exchanged for the commodity it is backed by. For example, the US dollar used to draw its value in gold. This was known as the gold standard. Okay, so essentially, way back then, during the implementation of the gold standard, uh, countries' central banks can only print as much money as their gold reserves. Okay, so the value of the money that they are printing or producing is limited to the amount of gold reserves that they have. So essentially, the money that's being printed, they are based on the value of gold that are in reserve. Okay, so that's why it's called commodity-based money. Okay, the value of the money is based on the commodity, which is usually gold during the gold standard. Okay, so that's the commodity-based money. And then thirdly, we have the fiat money. So in this monetary system, the currency, which by government decree is legal tender, i.e. that the government guarantees the value of the currency. So essentially, it's some sort of law or issued authority or mandated law that people would have to accept the printed paper bills as a form of money But of course, there's monitoring, and then the only authority allowed to print them would be the central bank, so that they could monitor the supply, to ensure that there's not going to be oversupply of money, which would drive inflation. And then it's essentially it's no longer an agreement, right? Because it's a mandated law, and because it's a law, the people are in a way compelled to abide by those law and accept the paper bills as a form of money, use it to buy goods, and then when they sell services and goods, then they have to accept the paper bills as well. Okay. Today, most monetary systems are fiat money because people use notes or bank balances to make purchases. Okay, when it comes to digital fund transfer, essentially, it's still backed by money. The people's money is simply in the bank, and instead of going to the bank and withdrawing it and giving it to someone else, they just do the transaction online. So, how much money is in their bank, that's reflected in their mobile or online account, and then they could transfer the money, and when they do, then the balance would be decreased, right? So essentially, it's some sort of managed back fund transfer, right? There's no direct holding of the money, but the transfer happens because there is essentially money in the reserve, right, or in the account of the person doing the fund transfer. Okay, fiat money is made up of paper currency for the paper bills and or a base metal coin for the coins. However, today most of fiat money is in the form of bank balances and records of credit or debit card purchases, because financial institutions, they do issue, we have debit cards for deposits, and then we have credit cards being offered by banks, okay, so that people who are expecting money but they don't have the money yet, they could spend the money that they expect to receive, okay, in advance, something like that. Okay, let me just get a bill. Okay, so I have here a 20 pesos. Essentially, what we call the legal tender is this statement right here. At the top, about around here, there's a statement here, and it says, ang salaping ito ay bayarin ng Bangko Sentral at pananagutan ng Republika ng Pilipinas. So that's the legal tender statement, okay? That we accept this bill because it's guaranteed by the government that this can be used as a form of money, okay? Bayarin ng Bangko Sentral at pananagutan ng Republika ng Pilipinas, okay? So essentially, that's the legal tender statement. And that's why we accept this as legal tender payment, alright? So for the uses of money, we have 3: medium, measurement, and then value. For the medium, it's used as a medium of exchange, means of payment, and therefore eliminates the coincidence of needs problem that is created by a barter system. So during the barter system, let's say if you have a cow and you want a pig, so you have to find someone who has a pig and who wants a cow. Okay, if you find someone who wants a pig but does not want your cow, then you cannot do an exchange, right? Because there's there's no coincidence of needs, right? Or the exchange of needs. So that was very hard. That's what made barter hard during way back then, right? The coincidence of needs requires that two parties want what the other person is willing to trade, and thus makes it difficult to trade. Okay, but with money, you just accept this. If you want something else in the future, then you can just use the money and buy whatever you want in the future, right? Secondly, we have measurement. It is also a standard unit of measurement that can be used to price things and to compare value. For example, a book costs $150, a meal costs $5, and a long distance call costs 10 cents per minute. Okay, so to compare their value, you can say one book is equal to 30 meals, and that's also equal to 1,500 minutes on a long distance call. Okay, so we can measure the value of things by how much money we're willing to buy them for. Okay. Lastly, we have value. Money can be used to store value, and thus it becomes an asset itself. However, Money may not be a good store of value since it loses value over time due to inflation. So if store of value because you can save it, okay, but sometimes saving it would not be good, especially if there's inflation. Essentially, you loses the purchasing power. If your 20 pesos can buy 1 kilo of rice 10 years ago, and in the current time, it can only buy half a kilo of rice. So due to inflation, there's the loss of the purchasing power. So if you save 20 pesos from back then until now, and it did not earn any interest or any dividends, so it wasn't a good investment, right? Or it wasn't a good way to it wasn't a good way of treating your money because it did nothing and you simply lost the value of it, right? Half the value of it. Okay, so it can be a store of value, but have that's why they are saying that of course investment is better than savings. Essentially, savings is for short-term needs, so you just have to have a minimum amount of it, and then if you have any excess, you just put it into investment so that the investment could earn you more money. Okay, so that's it for this one. So essentially what we've discussed are the different types of monetary system, but currently it's the fiat system. And then we also had the 3 uses of money. Okay, so that's it for this one. Thanks and bye.